Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, potential business people, potential entrepreneurs, and Nigerians that want to tap into this open space for good, legitimate business activities. We are here once again on our third series on the Schengen Story Media business seminar and entrepreneurial skills and growth. Once again with me are my noble brothers and friends, businessmen that are open to share their ideas and their thoughts with all of us. So once again, I welcome my friend Stephen Adeoye, Dr. Stephen Adeoye, our strategic management expert. He's here today. He founded the social business entity in Hanover, Germany, 1995. And he has transformed his business into a green label initiative, which is quite impressive. Here in Europe, the green, anything you're doing and you're eco-friendly is accepted. So Dr. Stephen is also a strategic partner with Hampshire Association in Ghana, and has been instrumental in the advocacy of industrial hemp in Ghana and building the hemp value chain for Ghana and Africa. Like you all know, the hemp, which we call marijuana, is also a very, is a business line because there are a lot of people that need the hemp for different purposes. So Dr. Adeoye is a member of that, he's into that field, and so many other endeavors he's involved with. So Dr. Adeoye, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mark.
Thank you. So along Doctor is my friend again, Right Honorable Matthew Ogaraku. Yes, Matthew will be answering questions with us today. Matthew is a technical instructor with Imo State Technological Skill Acquisition Center. So he understands what it is to spring up business. He understands what it takes to become a businessman. So Matthew will be putting out his knowledge. Matthew has worked as a cultural mediator with Italy, Padova community, and other international corporations. So Matthew has all these ideas, and Matthew is giving some of it to us today. Matthew is the chairman of the Igbo community in Bedford, UK, and like he says, he's a pro in Igbo in Europe, pro. So Honorable Matthew, you're welcome. You're welcome. You need to unmute. You need to unmute.
Me? Okay. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Good. So, also is please sorry, it's a live event, but what we're doing now is streaming only to YouTube, but it will not be opened to the public. I don't know, so that we can re-edit it and add some names and some things, then we can share. Is that okay? Yes, thank you. So also with us is our very good friend. He's always available whenever we call, always ready to give his part of anything positive in our community. And that's no other person than Godson Azu. Godson Azu is a political analyst. Godson Azu remains an integral figure in the British Nigerian community, and he has really shown the touch of what he has. He's the welfare officer of the Nigerian Diaspora Community Europe, that's NIDO. He's the publicity secretary also of the Council of Igbo Community in Europe, in UK. He's the vice chairman of the Abia State Indigene in diaspora, and Godson has been involved in so many projects, a member of the British Africa Business Alliance, and also member of the African Diaspora Network, conveyor and director of London Public Summit. Godson Azu is here with us to pour out more, like he did last time, he's been doing in all times, more of those knowledge-based skills to business and opening our own endeavors in Europe. So friends, brothers, we are talking business today. So today we are looking into questions from the feedback of what we've done before. People are curious. In fact, I had a question, somebody called directly in the middle of the night from Germany, Stuttgart, and the person was asking, oh, how do I get started? So I want to start with this first question. We all know that it takes some key factors, like Godson as laid out last time, key factors to become business owners in Europe. The right attitude, passion, perseverance, being very, very resilient, and go getting whatever that which you plan to get. But today somebody is asking this question. He's putting a very simple question, and I want all three to give their take. He said, how can an African small business owner be successful in Europe? How can an African small business owner be successful in Europe? I hope you had that. So let me start with my big brother, Stephen Adeoye. Mr. Stephen, how can an African small business owner be successful in Europe?
Well, thank you, Honorable Mark, for this question. And also the question from the gentleman or the lady must have been thought of very well. Well, being small and medium-sized businesses, there are challenges, but obviously one has to start from somewhere. What is very important is to identify the market that we want to actually get into. We should not start doing anything without knowing what the market demands are. One of the biggest mistakes we always do is to produce and force or get a product or products and force our customers to buy them or to have them or force it on their truth. The other way is the best way to go. Study the market, know what your market really wants, and produce or sell according to the demand of your market. Don't be afraid to start very little. If you want to go into luxury from the beginning, I think being a businessman is a wrong choice. Be prepared to work between 60 to 80 hours a week. Be prepared to spend most of your weekends meeting your customers or answering questions or being in the market. Be ready to get your hands wet or dirty. You cannot start being a boss. You have to get it, roll your sleeves, and do what it takes to make your business grow. 3, you need persistence. The market out there is very competitive. If you know your market and you know your competitors, you are able to prepare. Not to prepare is be prepared to fail. I always say when I give training or when I do training to some of my participants, I always say there are 3 things you have to be conscious of. You have to be prepared, and be prepared. So, and don't be afraid to put down on a paper what you want to do. If possible, change it many times over and over again. Talk to European or African friends of yours. See what they are doing that make them successful. Don't be ashamed or afraid to speak to someone who is successful in his field or her field. Get experts, get people who can work with you. You can't do it alone. You also have to you have to share responsibility. You can't just keep everything to yourself. It's very damaging. You should be in a position that you expand, and be ready to share wealth. Once you're successful, it is not because of you. You're successful because of the people around you. I tell you this because it's based on experience. People around you made you to be successful. It may be people that you have not even thought of, but someone somehow had given you the idea or spoken to you about it. And don't forget, and don't make that mistake and forget that you're not the best of all. You have the chance, and make use of that chance and let it work for you. And finally, do not forget that it's God that determines. And be very conscious about that. That He that gives you this life, He that enables you to breathe, deserve your praise and thanks. And don't leave your family behind. If you are a family person, bring your family into it. Don't force them into it, but bring them into it. Let them know what, if you're a daddy or mommy, let them know what you are doing. Let them know why daddy and mommy had to spend longer time, doing one thing or the other. Don't stop attending the school ceremonies of your children, if you have any. And don't stop romancing, You don't stop, don't stop taking your wife out for a meal or for a drink. You have to add that. In fact, I often tell my business partners, when I have to go out with my wife, I say to them, I have an appointment. With who? With my wife. And that has been a practice for 20 years. So, well, to survive in Europe as an African small business owner is not easy, but there are always niche markets.
Thank you very much. This is awesome. There's a clap going up there for you, sir.
Thank you very much.
There's a clap. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Adeoye. I like the aspect of involving the family, getting the spouse, whether wife or husband, getting them involved, and also creating time in the midst of the business, creating time for family and for one's spouse. That's a very beautiful tip, Stephen. Very good one. So you've laid out identifying one's area of interest, persistency, being ready to offer the best, and you said involving the family and making out time for the family. Good tips, good tips. We all know that there's a situation in Europe, and that situation is that we don't have role models, or we have very few role models, very few. I mean, I'm talking about business and this new network we're trying to create. Thank God for people like, with all due respect to his name, Dr. Alistair Ben TV, that came up with that great enterprise there. But we don't have media homes. We don't have anything that speaks for us. We don't have business people that comes and show people directions and lead them. So what you guys are doing, what we're doing is really it will go in the history, and a lot of things will be happening. So role models are coming up, and you men are now role models for young business people that will be springing up. So the question still goes on. Matthew, you need to unmute. The question is still on your own side of what it takes. How can a small business owner be successful? We're talking in terms of Nigerians, Africans in Europe. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. How can a small or big business owner grow in Europe?
Yes.
Because we will not always be on a small business, as we intend to grow. The young shall grow. Okay, it's an interesting question, and if we can take a little look over some of the contributions we have made in our two past series, we made mention of some guide towards this. I also would like to remind us what I said last week, that we are yet minorities, we are yet foreigners, we are multicultural. That simply means everything we do may not look exactly how they do it here. But how can business grow? Before I go about how small or big business can grow in Europe, it's important to remind us some of those impending difficulties that has been behind, first of all, a minority of workers, behind mostly Africans in Europe or in America, wherever you find it, and behind mostly a beginner of all race or all background. Yes, in Europe, there's what they normally call generational wealth. Generational wealth means when maybe you inherited properties, either companies, house, or even savings in an account, or even where a given family have been investing in one institution for a very long time, 2, 3 generations. Okay, if they have known here, they will tell you one known company has been working with this bank, have been working with this insurance company, has been a share owner in this type of business or the other, and they are known for this. They have a trademark of it, not registered trademark, but because this family has been known for this, so whenever there is issue as regard to that, their advice, their opinion, they are consulted on what should be done to see such sector growing, either for expansion, either for repair, either for rebranding. Another issue here is accessing loans. One of the difficulties Africans are seeing everywhere, including an African government, not just individuals, are that when an African comes for a loan in a bank or lending institution, they will term you as a risk-oriented client. While maybe when a European comes, they see him or her as less a risk-oriented client. In fact, one of the women that worked in World Bank explained it is there on YouTube, where Americans get loan from World Bank at Europe and America get loan from World Bank between 1 to 3%, while Africans get it at 8 to 9 to 12%. He made it very clear that those who are supposed to get break couldn't get the break. Then those who doesn't need the break gets the break. And then how do you expect Africa to grow? The same thing goes back to individual investment in Europe. When you come in, you don't have a generational wealth. You are coming in. I told you the story how in certain part of the world where we are, when the first attempt of regularization was to give you 6 months, 1 year permit of stay, as it is called, stay permit. And whenever you go to an office, they will look at your paper and say your name and surname, the day your permit will end. So you are not projecting anything beyond that, even though they knew it can be renewed. But by law, they should limit themselves by what they know that is available within you. So at first, this period of time, the migrants cannot even get a loan from the bank, because if you have a 1 year, it is possible within 1 year you are not renewed and automatically you become illegal, and there's no way you can. So this is one of those issues. So we know this issue exists. I want us to remember that these things exist. Another thing is societal prejudices. You see, no matter how we try to play about it, the societal prejudices in Europe and America exist. It is there. The same workshop, the same restaurant, the same institution you created by a black person, the same white person will do the same thing, and he will directly or indirectly get more patronage. Some people will just come from the mentality that it is more safe to be in that area than yours. You have to prove yourself 2 times, 3, to be able to stand in the same level, not to talk of overtaking. So societal prejudice, again, is structure in leadership or structure in management. You see, I want to advise anybody, mostly foreign African, Nigerian, who are investing in Europe or in America. Please stop being an island. I want this to be quoted. Stop being an island. I think Dr. Stephen has said it in a different way, but I'm saying it this way. Stop being an island. The best way in Europe is a place where you have what is called cooperations, associations, movement. There's nothing in Europe that has no association. Even though the same mentality of association is coming down in Nigeria today, where you have market traders association, Nigerian road workers association, this or that, but their own has been structured long before now and has been institutionalized. Is a legislation that has made it so clear what they should be. So when you start a small business and you register with the association of such business, let's say association of African shops, as those very few things that we mentioned before. I also remember even that when the early African shops was being opened, when you go to authority to register, they will ask you, what do you want to sell? Do you fall into what they call kiosk? Or they will try to create categories. And normally they will tell you, we are selling African products. Maybe not trying to even ourselves identify the product we want to sell. Thereby, when you get to African shop, you see the same shop doing many things. And I must tell you, sometimes it's not helping, because when if you are not able to distinguish within the shop what different items that with all the necessary securities, you will see the infection. That's what is called infection control and the cross infections. Those are things they observe. Maybe we don't see it ourselves. The person who is selling African product, who is selling edible food, supposed not to sell detergents and things like that. And sometimes we are not even used to a globe, as if to say you are saying use it and take it. Even if one has that globe, you may have one from morning to afternoon. Sorry to say this, but these are observations you must have to make. So if we put into considerations of these things I have just mentioned now, knowing fully well that you have these difficulties naturally, even when you have a civil environment that try to avoid it, the human nature will always force certain things to be. Even when you have all the institutions to control against any form of discrimination, nature forces you to do that, and sometimes you need to prove it before you convince somebody. Else, one will be doing it. Either he says he did it ignorantly, or he's doing it intentionally, feeling that you do not know or cannot know. So, if we can realize that these issues exist, then we should know. More importantly, honestly, I want to repeat this issue. Don't be an island in Europe. Let me tell you one of the big advantages of being a member of a given association in Europe. First of all, there's one mentality Africans used to have. Let us say they say you are a member of this trading association, and you pay roughly £1,000, euro, a year. For an African, it's a very big money. How can you give up 1,000 for such a big money? But when you register with this association, they give you legal backing. They give you financial control backing. They give you even security against infractions of all forms. They give you structural protection. And maybe if there's need for your business to go into liquidation, there's a way of falling into the system. Maybe you sell your company to yet a member of association, and maybe start working there as a staff because you have experience already. It is also too, somebody who is falling down may link to your own, merge with your own, and then you grow. And maybe when you start having this merger of different races, mostly having it within the citizens, it strengthens the relationship, because when they come in, is that of McPherson. Now I saw Massive Mark there. They're doing things together. You see him doing. So when you come in there, this type of thing bridges the prejudice we normally talk about. So what am I saying? It is necessary for us to realize the realities in the environment we are. Once we'll be able to realize that and be able to affront it with the necessary guideline, including what I have just suggested here, and maybe more, then we can be able to survive. Our small or big businesses can be able to survive, because the only way to survive is to be able to work alongside with others. Know those little standards they have and make sure you keep them. If you should be clean in your workshop. Let me give you this poor example I saw here in UK. One day, one of the kiosks very close to me here, the kiosk, because here they don't have post office as a separate offices, they instituted in a kiosk. So one day I went in there, when the first company that was there left, which is supposed to be a British company, just like Azo said the other time, that Bangladesh bought over kiosk from the Scottish and other people. Just something happened here, it's still happening. So they bought it from there, and then after a few months, because immediately they came in, they removed it after he came back. One day, this is not only Africans, I'm trying to say this. One day I went there to post a letter, and the Bangladesh man there was there eating semo with hand, honestly. And he had that semo, and then he used the other hand to put the computer and then get my letter posted. It is not good enough. I'm not saying it's good. No. I'm trying to say that if you're an African are doing this, and then the way I look at that place, I'm not happy about that. Okay? I didn't like what happened. So if an African does such a thing, don't expect people to appreciate it. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. So wherever you are, try to live to standard. There's time to eat, and there's time for everything. When it's time to eat, if you must eat within your shop, find a space outside the public sector and eat. Even if it takes you 20 minutes to do that, or even if you want to rush it and do it, just because you don't want to be absent from your your table. But make sure that you don't do that type of impression. Honestly, I wouldn't like to be there once again. So I want us to live. This is Europe. Yes, I made mention here that we are foreigners, we have bicultural relationship, but don't bring that negative part of your own culture inside the system. Let them bring the better part of the culture into the system. That's what I'm saying. So when they come in there, instead of seeing those negative things, they see the better things of your own culture in the system, and then learn from it instead of maybe disowning the circumstance. So I want to say, yes, the tendencies of difficulties are there, but we can change our own narratives. It has always said that until a lion learns to ride, the hunter will always win in the case of the struggle in the bush. Once again, I stop so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Matthew Ogaraku. Thank you. We're moving forward. So what we did was this. Let me explain. There were many questions. So, but we just summarized it to two. This first part we're taking now and another one. So we have one more. But before we go to that one more, let me just read through Matthew's statement Matthew is saying that yes, there are societal prejudice, but we can overcome it. Matthew said we should structure our leadership very well. Matthew said assessing of loans. We have that problem of assessing loans. African businesses are at risk of assessing loans. Matthew also said that as foreigners, there are multicultural facets to what is happening here. So these are good statements. We will come to our brother Mazi Godson Azu. Mazi, the question still remains: how can a small business owner become successful? We're talking in the Europe context, Africans in Europe, Nigerians in Europe. Mazi.
Yeah, thank you very much, my dear friend and brother Mark, for this wonderful occasion and this platform that you have set up to help enlighten our people and to share ideas and discuss areas that will be of mutual interest to our community in terms of growing our businesses and stabilizing our entrepreneurship possibilities in our community in the diaspora. It is obvious that some of us are also still maturing in our entrepreneur journey, in the sense that personally myself, I've been in this venture of accessing other source of income through looking out for opportunities that can help generate those extra incomes. And being a self-employed person, you have to work out what you earn, and what you earn survives you and your family and your other intentions. How do you sustain such a challenge, a situation? It's not easy, especially in countries where when you are a sole operator or a sole trader or a business person, or if you put in the context of an entrepreneur, you have to run most of these things by yourself for the greater good of yourself, your family, and those around you. How can a business person, an African business person, sustain his or her business in a very difficult environment? One, the person has to be sure he has a clear vision of what he or she wants to do. Clear vision. You must have a vision for what business you want to do and you are into. And secondly, you have to have a very strong passion for what you're doing, what you are venturing into. Because when you have the vision and you lack the passion, you easily lose the inspiration and the motivation to keep sustaining yourself in that business in the face of both economic and social challenges. So the first thing is about the vision, the passion. The passion generates the inspiration and the motivation, and then to be in that business. And then once you have those three key things, the first is to understand the kind of business you're about to do. What is the business you want to do? If you don't understand the business you are going into and you just flip-flop into anything, then it's likely that you may not go far with that flip-flop in that anything. So you have to identify. And in this case, I have put my 5P of sustaining your business. One, people. You have to be able to understand who are your buyers. And in the key factor, in the keyword of buyers, you have what I call the customer and the client. If you are trading on goods, you look out for the customers who can afford to buy your goods. Is your goods affordable for the customer? Is it what the customer wants? Is it what the people in the area want? And if you're a service provider, you look out for your client. Like I said before in my previous discourse, in our community, we mostly have people who set off trading businesses, trading entrepreneur ventures. And we have few people who venture into service-oriented entrepreneurship, such as providing legal services, providing accountancy services, such as providing consultancy services for business development, business management, such as even providing medical services, private doctors. We lack in these areas. We need to begin to venture into some of these areas. That is what entrepreneurship is all about. Entrepreneurship is somebody who is able to take a very strong step in creativity and innovation. You find what is lacking in the community. You look at the people.
Oh, there.
Yeah, I didn't go too far. So first, the people, and because in our community, we set up businesses without looking into data of the people in the community. Are they people that can access the services and the goods we provide? Is very important, especially in the diaspora. Second, place. Place is very important in terms of the proximity of the location of your business to those who are going to access that business, whether it be a shop, whether it be an office. What is the proximity to those around in the community to access your physical shop and physical office in order to access your services or product? Secondly, how many of our people are beginning to look into the virtual business platforms? How many businesses are owned by Africans that can complement their physical presence and make them more visible to those who cannot access their physical locations but can access their businesses through virtual digital platforms, such as there are so many African businesses or Nigerian shops that doesn't have a website. You know, people need to be creating, be innovative, you know, be innovative. If you sell an African food or you have an African shop and you cannot afford at least 750 pounds or 1,000 euro to develop a good standard e-commerce business platform or even a standard website that people can go log in and find that you are a business that can afford some services online also, then you are not yet growing, because we are growing into a digital era where the most important thing is about accessibility, the possibility of accessing products and services as quickly and as possible and as easy as you can in the real world. And so the third, price. Are we developing prices that are comparable? Now we have in the UK here, we have what we call price comparison website. The price comparison website is not even making more money than the people who sell the product they compare. The price comparison websites. We have Go Compare, we have that. They all do comparison for insurance companies. Some do comparison for car sales companies. Some do comparisons for house sales and mortgages. Some do comparisons on the best banks you can go and open an account. And so price is very important and a great factor in building a business. And like I said the other time, last week, people want to go to where they can get a good service at a very reasonable cost. If a lawyer, a British lawyer, is offering me the best service in immigration case at £250 to deal with my case, and then a Nigerian lawyer is charging me £500 to deal with the same case, I'd rather go to the British guy because it's cheaper, and my sense of thinking will tell me the British man may be more honest than the Nigerian person. But invariably, the reverse is the case. And most times, the British lawyer may send you to prison or may even deport you with the case than a Nigerian doing that to you. But obviously, in this country, the Nigerian lawyers destroyed the legal system here and made it very hard for even immigration and asylum seekers here to access legal aid because of most atrocity committed by most Nigerian lawyers in this country and some Indian lawyers. The access to legal aid was almost completely gone in this country, whereby that free opportunity of someone in a very tight situation having the support to challenge his case in court without spending money was almost lost. So price is very important. You want to grow your business, you must check your price. You must compare your price. What are you offering that others are offering also? How are they offering it? What are you giving? What are you giving in exchange? I personally have a product I'm selling, and on that product I have what I call coupon. You buy more of this item, will give you a coupon, which reduces percentage of what you are buying to a cost reasonable to both you and we who are selling it online. And then we have also what we call promo code. I mean, for instance, if Schengen magazine wants to help market our product, we give them a promo code, and that promo code determines who comes from Schengen magazine that bought our item. For that reason, we send a promotional, we send a certain amount of commissions to Schengen magazine for helping to promote that. So if we don't do this in our community by helping one another and understanding how we can share these cost implications and make our price reasonable when we are in trouble. The other one is product. What are we selling? What are we servicing? What are we giving? We have to understand the product. It's very important. What do we want to sell? You cannot live in an area where people are not interested in buying your items, and then you want to be selling, open a shop and be selling your items. For instance, here in Peterborough, there is a place where a Nigerian went and opened a restaurant, and the place is so hidden that it's difficult for people to travel or drive even to those places to go, and that is the only Nigerian restaurant. And many of us were feeling like if he had taken the risk of opening the restaurant in the middle of town, that attracts everybody day and night, he might be worrying about the cost, but the patronage will be high than where he went and opened that restaurant, you know. And then also the possibility of expanding. In the whole of the Peterborough, as I speak, it's estimated that we have over 3,500 Nigerians here, but we have only 2 Nigerian barbering saloons for the whole city. We have only functional 3 African shops in the whole entire city. So it's very important to understand where we put our market, the product we put in our market. As we speak, we don't have, we only have probably 1 office run by a Nigerian for legal services in the whole of Peterborough. And so also it happens all over the place. I'm sure in Martin Ogaraku's Bedford, it will be the same experience. In so many other places across the UK, it will be almost the same experience as we speak. And then finally, I have what I call persistence. Persistence. We in the Nigerian community are very, very very, very conscious about taking risk. Risk taking is not one of the things some of us in the diaspora want to venture into, especially in the area of setting up businesses and services in our community. Many of us are very conscious of how can I spend 20, 50,000 pounds to set up a business I'm not sure I'll be able to sustain. Well, that is a very big challenge. But I think once you are able to overcome that fear of inevitable, that fear of inevitability, and build the spirit of persistence, curiosity to develop more ideas of how to sustain your business, then you will grow your business. What are the key challenges to this? What are the key challenges why we are not able to do our business and grow our business? One, just like Matthew said, cultural, the cultural barriers is a very big problem in our community. But then we also have to understand, like somebody said in a networking meeting I attend, he gave a scenario with a phrase he called case. Case means copy, steal everything. Copy and steal everything. Copy and steal everything. Case. It simply means that wherever you see what is good, steal it, apply it, and make it work for you. Is this why he said this? Is because he said everything we see happening in the Indian or Chinese or Asian community is all about their ability to copy, steal, and use. Most of them have gone outside their territory, seen things that works, seen things how they work. They did not just go there and turn it to the way it works in their place, but they have gone there to learn how it works somewhere else, apply it, and come up with a better process of doing business. And that is why you see in the UK here we have what we call the Indian communities. We have the Indian community like somewhere in Southall. We have the Indian communities like somewhere in Leicester, even in Bradford. We have the Chinese community. We have the Jewish community, and wherever these communities are in large population, they have everything that the community needs within them and among them, and they patronize each other. They patronize each of the business. They see that business grow within them. If they are into properties, they buy property among themselves. They resell among themselves. They grow their property portfolio. If they have their churches, you see, this is one of the biggest problems we have in our community. When you go to the Indians, when they go to their Hindu or they go to their Shiite faith, you see how they do collective sharing and bargaining. Whenever there is a shop to be sold, it will go through their Hindu mosque or Sikh temple. The information gets there, and then they share it among themselves. There is a property to buy, a house to buy, they do it among themselves. There is a warehouse to buy. Everything goes around their Sikh temple or their Hindu temple. But when you come to our Nigerian community, we set up churches just to collect people's money and don't give them idea of what is happening in the community and how to benefit from the community among themselves, how to become business minded in the community. We are not training. The churches are just doing things and making money off our people rather than getting the people to make more money and build themselves for potential growth in the community. And so we need to look into our cultural differences. If it's not the Yoruba man shop, if it's not, the shop is not run by Yoruba man, we will not go there. If it's not run by Igbo man, Yoruba man will not go there. If his shop is run by anybody that is not from your cultural group, you tend to debate, why should I go to be shopping there? No, the fact remains he's a Nigerian. He has taken the he has taken the unnatural step to take the risk in a foreign land to open up a business. And we need to support him. We need to make him grow. We need to be proud of what he has done. Every one of us cannot own a shop, but we can help him to stabilize that shop. Then we have what I call personality clash. Personality clash is almost the same thing as what I have mentioned earlier on. And then we have demography. Demography, like I said earlier on, the Bangladesh, the Indians, the Jewish, the Chinese, they congregate in every location they find themselves. When they start growing there, they grow their population there, and they utilize that population in those areas. And so we in Nigerian community, we need to begin to define our demography and our population growth in areas where we are growing in number, and begin to make good use of those number and the demography in building our businesses in order for us to grow, stabilize, and then be profitable. And then finally, we have I have what I call business integrity. Business integrity, just like Matthew said, we in the Nigerian community are one of the lesser communities, especially here in the UK, that can access business loans. Business loan accessibility of most Nigerians in the UK is nothing, is about 0.01 or so in any way of having the chance to raise financial loan from any bank. Why? Because of the stories of our Nigerian community's attitude, because of our inability to be openly and honest to the way we do our businesses or interact with our businesses and the community. And so banks see Nigerians as a risk, as a greater risk in giving out money for businesses to. So we need to begin to look at how do we help each other to rebuild trust, to rebuild confidence, to rebuild mutual faith within our business, the community, and the banks who we want to help our businesses to grow. Most businesses run by Nigerians in this UK especially are run by self-help. Most people saved money to start up the business themselves. Some people sell something within their portfolios to raise money to start up these businesses, and as such are struggling. We keep struggling out of every little profit to be able to sustain those businesses. But once we are able to do the best in keeping a business integrity and sustaining that business integrity, I think the few of our Nigerians are doing very well in this area. I know that the likes of Ade Foods, he's grown enormously. His profit portfolio is grown to about almost 50 million pounds in the last year. Also Olu in the same factor, and there's another Nigerian who is also one of the biggest meat poultry butchery in the whole of UK. He has a very big butcher factory that makes these various meat packs that we sell in most African shops in the UK here. Chief Ida, he is doing very well and also increasing, and there are very few of them who are really helping a lot in their own little ways to rebuild the integrity of Nigerian businesses in order for them to be able to be given the chances and the open window to access business loans and financial funding for their businesses in the UK. And I believe same is also happening across Europe. And if we can do that, I think business startups will begin to see a new dimension and a new approach to how they are able to run and sustain their businesses in the UK and across Europe. Thank you.
Powerful. That's awesome. Amazing and straight to the point. But you let out the cat before you said the second part of the question. You've given out your own take, because like I said, what we did was there were so many questions, so we just summarized it to two. This is the first one. Now, the second one, which you've given some of your own take, is what are the risks involved in business, opening business in Europe? So you have given your own take. We're also looking at our time, but your punchlines are wonderful. The 5P: people, place, price, product, and persistency. These are things to remember, and I know the young men and women around Europe, Nigerians, Africans, are listening to all these great inputs to help them become business people. We've done a lot for ourselves, but it's time to really take charge and dominate and take over so many the space that is open for us to do business. The space is open, Mazia. Is that not so?
Yeah.
Even if we have 100 people supplying food like Ade Food, it's still an open space. I mean, we're talking of the rough figure of the Nigerians in Europe is 13 million, even though I think it's more than that. So, I mean, 13 million, that's big number. And there's so much to be done. So my good friend Stephen will give us some insight into what are the risks involved. What are these risks that can help us to that we have to looking at as we go into business. Mr. Stephen, please. I think you need to unmute. And before Mr. Stephen comes in, Mazi, I want to say something. I want to compliment you for something you said. And that's in the area of not only tapping into the virtual space for business, but also our attitude within our community, where the Yoruba man thinks he can only patronize his Yoruba brother. The Igbo man thinks he can only, so those attitudes should be worked on. We cannot move as long as we are divided in that space. So that's a good one. And I know you are listening. Go ahead, Mr. Stephen. Stephen Adeoye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues, great men on the platform. And thank you for this amazing points you've shared. Really, really, really amazing. Well, the risk. When we talk about risk, there is nothing that is without risk. So there are many aspects that we can minimize risk. What is important for us is to take a calculated risk. There is a risk in whatever we do, form of risk in whatever we do. Even if we sit idle, it's still a risk factor. So obviously, starting and opening business in Europe, I realize now that people who are the new breed of setting up business in Europe do not go through the classical way of doing business. And that's why most of the risk involved nowadays is not as high as it used to be in the past. You see, Mr. Martin was talking about the second and the third generation. This group of people, they have learned the language. You see, I believe very much that if you do not understand or speak the language of the place you live or where you want to do business, the mere fact that you are not able to communicate with people in their language makes it more difficult for you to sell your product, for you to convince them of what they should know about your product, or for you to tell them in their language what you want them to know. So the first risk is not knowing actually the language of the people you're targeting, the market of the people you're targeting. Most people may not take that serious. But when you look at, I remember when I came to Germany, at the first 6 months, whenever I try to share my opinion, most people will say, well, not all of us understand English. But I was so adamant and persistent in learning the German language. A professor who is a friend of mine at the university, who is a German professor, and I said, listen, you know, I want to learn this language, and I just don't want to go to any supermarket, buy anything, and not being able to speak to the ladies and gentlemen at the supermarket. And I want to be able to speak to my neighbors in German. He said, are you serious? I said, I'm serious. I can't live in a country that I don't speak the language. Oh, he said, but there are people who have been living here for 40 years and just, you know, they just don't. He said, I'm not those people. And lo and behold, in 6 to 8 months, I'm able to listen to, and I kept listening to the normal oldies radio station in Germany called the NDR5. And I started using, you know, the Germans use long phrase. The German are used to using long phrase. And there's a word that always haunted me. And this word is because, you know, as an English teacher, I noticed that, you know, how can you actually use such a long word? That's what German language is. You know, there's a word called Aufmerksamkeit. Aufmerksamkeit means, you know, attention, to pay attention, to pay attention. But this word, I practiced it for more than 3 weeks to be able to use it in my presentation. So I realized that by the time I started sort of like mixing up and speaking the language, the risk factor and the way the people relate to me is more cordial. Secondly, you know, you are not part of the way people are brought up in Europe. You do not have the history of the Reformation. You see, we in Africa, we do not have the history of the Martin Luther Reformation. I believe very much in that fact that most Europeans in those generations up till now enjoy what they have, what has been planted in them from youth. You know, a European in schools, children learn already to read signs. They learn to understand, you know, how to deal with things from their youth. They learn to swim. They learn to ride bicycle. They learn all the values and the customs and norms of the society from age 2 or 3. If you come to Germany, you see a 2 or 3 years old child riding bicycle behind his parents. You see? And they've learned also not to litter, not to throw things on the road. They've learned to take paper and put it. So where does this come from? So if we want to do business in Europe, we cannot have a shortcut. We have to, I consider myself as someone who has the benefit of being reformed through the fact that I interact with most business people here, and I could take from them some of these customs, culture, some of this, you know, I mean, prices. You know, I remember once I was in Nigeria. I went to buy Coca-Cola. So in Nigeria, corruption. When we say corruption is a risk. Corruption is a risk factor. I mean, people don't become poor because they are corrupt. It's the other way around. Corruption leads to poverty. So we cannot bring we are used to what becomes norm back home. Actually, corruption is not part of our tradition. It well up because of the kind of wanting to make money quickly and reap orders. You see, in Europe, when you do your business, you know your price, and you will not muzzle things up. Once I was in Nigeria, and I bought a Coca-Cola. So it's not just from the presidency or whatever, but it comes from up down. And I gave this lady 1,000 naira, and she said the Coca-Cola cost 250 naira. And all of a sudden, in a twinkle of an eye, she hid the money and let me feel that I gave her 500 naira, not 1,000. I said, no, you can't do that with me. I gave you 1,000. And I started giving her the principle of the joy. If she had had that mind to say, sir, you gave me 1,000 naira, and I'm going to give you 750 naira. This is what you do. This is your change. I said, do you know how great that will be if you and I could rapport on this level? So, as I said, language. Secondly, the custom and norms and the way people do things. We cannot actually just come and do whatever, like Mr. Honorable Matthew said. When people already know they know what you expect. If you go to a business, business that is run by Africans, I remember I wanted to send something to Ghana, and I was happy to see on the Google a company that called itself Ghana for All, Ghana for All. And I just went into the website. The website was badly constructed, number one. Two, the numbers were not, the one current numbers. I spent time calling the numbers. Nobody answered. So, and finally found out, these are risks. These are risk factors that can destroy your business. So if you do not take care of all these things, learn from them, like Honorable Azu said. Learn from them. You are here to stay. Learn from them. Be innovative. Take that great thing. They do not have the persistence that you have. They do not have the kind of like joy that you have. Put that into what they have and provide them the service that they will always enjoy when they come to you. So I remember, what I was saying about the Ghanaian person, on this platform, I'm being very personal. I'm not on this platform. I'm not lecturing, and I'm not presenting what I'm presenting to team building. Yeah. But on this platform, I'm being just me. Really. Very good. So to be honest, I looked into all the way to give business to this Ghanaian group, but it was impossible. So finally, I got a number and I called. The lady answered. You know what she said? I cannot answer that question. Please call back when the boss is around. When the boss, that's in Hamburg. In Hamburg. So really, we are the one who should use this niche market, niche opportunity. We have they accommodate us. In contrary to us, they excuse me, they provide a platform for us. like Mr. Matthew was saying, look, in Europe, when you start up your business, in Germany, when you start up your business, you have a platform made ready for you. The government can even give you a kind of like, financial backing to make you do what you are special at doing. You see, you don't even have to be, I mean, you don't have to be something extremely special to get this assistance. They will give you the assistance. They will make it available for you. Do you know why? Because at least one person is employed. At least 2 or 3 persons is employed. They do not stifle the money and put it into their pocket. They're serving the society. And if you do not relate and collaborate with the society you're living in, that's another risk. Then you're going to separate yourself, and you're not going to actually bring anything that will improve your market. Now, be innovative. If you go into a business, I often say, when I go to a restaurant and I see that the menu card is already like fading out, I know for sure that the story of this restaurant is it's going out of business soon. But you go to a restaurant that is innovative, you see the color, it invites you. They make some kind of Photoshop that I want to go and eat. So you as an African, the risk that would be involved is you're marginalized. You're marginalized anyway. So why don't you be part of the solution and not to allow the risk? In fact, you are branded as someone who cannot be as good as them.
Thank you very much.
Let's face it. And finally, we have opportunities now. And this is what I want to really put across to everybody. We have the opportunity that we can produce organic food. We have no problem in producing organic. In fact, not producing organic food runs us into many financial crises in Africa. So we might as well settle to produce organic food. So be innovative. I know the question is, what are the risks? Now I'm turning to the point that says, look, why going into that risk? If there's a possibility for you to manage the risk and take less risk, or that you take a calculated risk. That is, as an African, you know that you can have farmers back home who will produce food. You have to be innovative. And this food is organic food. In Europe, they're dying of buying organic food, not in form of African chop. Do you know, finally, gentlemen on the platform and people listening, do you know that African shops all over Europe, they're making marginal, they're mixed up. Just like my brother Azu said, you just go into, you smell some strange thing in some of the shops. There's no friendly faces. But the Turkish shops, which I spent some time learning how they did, how they become successful in Germany. There are more than 3,500 Turkish shops in Germany, a turnover of 3.5 billion. Turkish shop. What are they selling? Product from Turkey, product from Bangladesh, product from all these Islamic countries. And they're selling it in their shops. As an African, I prefer to go to a Turkish shop to buy meat, to buy pepper, why? It's neat. So what we are putting together now, our team, what we're putting together now is to create such an opportunity in Europe where we will have supermarket named after us in Africa. And we will have supermarket chains in Europe. And you know one thing, one very funny thing is this. Once we set that up in Europe, starting in Portugal, once we start that up in Europe, all the products that are produced in Africa, which have no access to come to Europe, we make it possible for them to have the necessary certificate, especially organic necessary certificate, to come to Europe. And we set it up from Portugal so that it will go into supermarkets. And there are teams already working on setting up shops, not African shops that are just as good, a supermarket, I mean, that is just as good as a European supermarket. What would they be selling? The most thing you will see are the products from Africa, not just products that are in bags. No, products that are labeled, packaged, the 4 Ps. They're packaged, they're labeled properly, and of course, they're put in the right place.
Thank you very much.
Finally, if we have to get into this, we will reduce the risk that most of our people are going through. There is already an opportunity. Let us make use of it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen Adeoye. That's Stephen Adeoye Green Label Initiative in Hanover, Germany. Thank you so much. Something you said that really struck me is you said you're being yourself in this platform. And the truth of the matter is being yourself is what we need. We've lived, Nigerians in Europe, our pioneers, those that came before us, they lived a pretentious life, a fake life. You know, we sent the wrong signal to the young people in Africa that Europe is one luxury land where money is flowing. Some of them would stay by somebody else's car, snap photo and send back to them in Africa and say, look at me and my Jaguar, look at me and my Range Rover. Meanwhile, it's not true. So we have, sorry to say, all respect to my elders, but the pioneers, the initial Africans and Nigerians that came to Europe gave a wrong signal. They gave a false signal. So I appreciate you saying you're being yourself. This is real to real. We are discussing the real thing. This is the pathway to a better, beautiful Africa, to a better, beautiful Nigeria, to a world of orderliness, progress, prosperity, and everything. If things are done orderly, everybody being sincere. Nigerians need to be sincere. We need to be sincere with ourselves. It's high time we stop deceiving ourselves and stop these illegitimate activities. So I really thank you all for what you're saying here. I will want Matthew to give a last take on this last question. What are the risks involved? So, but please be brief, sir, so that we can round up as soon as we can. Go ahead, Matthew.
Thank you again. Thank you for, yes, life, they said, is risk. Everything you do in life is risk. The essence of training, the essence of mentorship, the essence of fellowship is to learn from, you have mentioned here role models. The essence of education is to learn, is to prepare, is to have a profession, is to guide yourself, to know the risk in life and how to guide against them. They are there, you don't need to remove them. As they are there, and their presence helps you to be conscious as well. In fact, here in United Kingdom, in Italy, first of all, when they get to a road, they don't want you to run a high speed. They put what they put on or doors. This does means if you are running a speed, your car. So what do you know? If you're a road, you know, once you get there, you don't need to be told to stop or to slow down. You have to run by the speed of that such environment. Then if you're somebody who doesn't know, what will happen? Your car will jump. And maybe if it does once, you learn that from here, you should learn to, if you don't have accident, let's say if such doesn't cause accident for you, then you learn that such an area you should run at a given speed. Yeah, in the United Kingdom, when they get such rules, they will close one side from time to time, so that from time to time you see a car coming, because you know you have to share road with the other person. So you won't sleep when you're on the road, and they don't run at such a speed. So this is just to give you some practical aspects. Sometimes people create risk just to make you conscious, because if everything comes so easy, you will not be learning. Here also, you see, even in institutions, they give you licenses that expires. It means that at the end of such expeditions, you have to do some trainings or retrainings to get yourself up to date. These are those things. Yeah, as well in business, that's what it is. Every business, you have to know the risk that is involved, know the dangers that is involved, know the challenges that is involved, and get yourself updated from time to time. Sometimes they even change. So coming to the issue of African investment in Europe, yes, we should think of location and localization. Just like Honorable said before, how somebody located the African shop is a restaurant to the location may be that may not be conducive to some people. Yes, because if you put it some other places, it will be easy and accessible to people. And you know, average African would like to make sure he drives to the doorpost so that people sees he comes in with the Ferrari or comes in with the latest. If you ask him to park somewhere, pay for the park, and then come and how can people know that he is A and B? You know. However, it's not as if to say we are trying to promote the culture, but know that is one of the inherent attitude that is in us, and it can give small room for such chances as well. Having said that, risk makes you to be conscious. So in the businesses we do here, it is necessary for you to learn the environment, learn the location you intend to do such business, the localization. Here, most businesses also think of, in Africa, we don't normally think of demography, age limits, and environmental interest. But I think soon we'll get there. Soon we will get there. So the issue of risk is not something we'll be afraid of. That's the summary of what I want to say. Rather, we should be conscious of it and be able to live with it. In fact, yesterday our Prime Minister informed us that the coronavirus is here and we should learn to live with it. So it's no longer not knowing that what you should do, learn that they are, and then learn to live with them. And that will give you consciousness. Thank you and God bless.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm so excited here, gentlemen. Mazi, the Stephen Adeoye, Matthew Ogaraku, you guys are wonderful. This is it. We are, like, once again, like the words of Stephen, we are being ourselves here, speaking real to real, and opening up great insights that nobody will tell you. Well, remember behind the scene before we came online, I said most millionaires will not tell you the secrets of their business. You know, it's like a cult thing. They want to keep it to themselves. But you have all volunteered and with your heart and sincerity have given out wonderful tips, wonderful, resourceful, knowledge-based concepts to beginning this journey of owning our own business in Europe. And I want to thank you. This will wrap up this segment for now. We're going to come in another way, in another time. But for the business segment, this wraps it up. And I want to thank you all personally. Mazi Azu, I hope you're there. Thank you very much for all the key points. The 5.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Last week it was the 4 key words, and today we have the 5P. Thank you so much for giving us your knowledge base to helping us start this journey. One thing I have to say again is you are now making this younger generation of Africans, Nigerians, see that there is a prospect, there is a good life ahead of them if they can tap into this space. You know, there's a good life ahead of them if they can tap into becoming business owners, entrepreneurs, and going all the way with all these resourceful tips you have given. Thank you very much, Stephen Adeoye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Words cannot express how much I say I appreciate you. It's wonderful. And you coupled it all by saying you're being yourself. That's a very human expression. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Matthew, you are my man, and you've proven that you're a great friend and a brother, and you've done it. You've given us beautiful insights, keywords, tough as they may be, but you just said it. The last one is risks has to happen. Risks has to be there in the business field. That's scary, but that's the truth, you know. So thank you very much, Matthew Ogaraku. I'll be letting you guys know the next segment, what we're coming up with for a next segment, something different and something very interesting. So with that, I say, God bless you all. Have a beautiful week. And hopefully you get the links also. And we pray that our community, the Nigerian community in Europe, Nigerian community in African community in Europe will begin to progress, because it's time. It's time for the African. The world is open. The world has been waiting for Africa all these years. And this is the time to key in and make something for our lives, for our future, our generations, and hopefully God helping us also. You are the role models. Now you are the role models. Matthew, now you are the role model. Stephen, now you are the business role model.
Thank you very much.
Mazi, now you are the role model. So we'll be looking up to you all.
It's our very best and our desire, and we look forward to what we can do to help our community grow from strength to strength across the UK and Europe and the diaspora as a whole. And we continue to support each other for the best. Thank you very much.
And Honorable Mark, you are also a role model for
yes.
This forum is amazing. Thank you very much. This is one of its kind.
Yes. This is the essence of being a good entrepreneur. You look for the space, you look for the gap, and then you fill that gap. You make sure that gap is not left open for too long. And I believe you are closing that gap in the community informatively, because they say if you are informed, you are reformed.
Yes.
If you are not informed, you are deformed. So you are getting us to be reformed. And so
Merci.
God bless you.
God bless you all. Have a beautiful
you.
week, and see you as we go on. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.